Good evening, everyone. It's me, Leo, and I'm here today to present another TNN Teens podcast. I'm really excited for this one as we've got an up-and-coming music artist, Osa Zele. Introduce yourself for me.
Hello, Mr. Zele, that's me. Hello.
Um, so Osa, tell us a little bit about yourself and your music and what led you to becoming a musician.
So I'm part Nigerian, but I'm also born and raised in America in Denver, Colorado. And really just as I grew up, I started off just loving music. I mean, as a kid in like kindergarten and preschool, I'd be singing and just I was always loud and rambunctious. My mom always complained about me screaming, even just straight out of the womb. So just really, I've always liked music. I've always loved music. And as I got older, I think as I wanted to decide a career, I wanted to follow the thing that I love the most. So I went into music and it really it went somewhere. So
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, myself, I like music. I have a few artists that I really like, and music's a wonderful thing, and I think it brings a lot of people together as well.
for
So
sure.
actually, you're part Nigerian, and I just wanted to ask, how do you represent that culture within your family? Do you give it a good representation? Like, how do you embrace the fact that you're part Nigerian?
I would say I embrace it. I mean, I appreciate the time that I get to spend with family so much. I mean, when I get to be with the Nigerian part of my family, it's so much fun. It's obviously a completely different culture, the two sides of my family. So when I get to go over there, I get to appreciate such a different dynamic, and it's so much, yeah, it's so much fun being able to be obviously with family, eat the food, the music, the dancing, just everything. The vibes are great. I think the way I represent it is probably just through enjoying my time with those people, enjoying being Nigerian, just enjoying. Yeah.
Yeah. Following on to that, have you ever been to Africa? Have you ever been to Nigeria to go and see family maybe over there?
Unfortunately, I haven't. I would really, really love to. I've obviously heard a lot of good things, and I've always, even my father wanted to take me one time, but it didn't go through. So
Yeah. I mean, I've never been to Nigeria as well. My dad, obviously, he's Nigerian and he wants to take me, but it's a hard like flights to get and everything. So yeah.
right, right. It's complicated.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, it's very complicated. So obviously you said why you picked a career in music, but who was your like main inspiration? Who did you listen to when you were a kid? Who was like your favorite artist, so to speak?
Um, it was really a lot of stuff. I think my first favorite was obviously Michael Jackson. That's probably most people's first favorite when they discover music. But
Mm,
Michael Jackson was definitely the first one who really made me to feel like I loved music. And then I think as I got older, I started being in America. I realized I saw things like the rap genre,
yeah.
and there was things like um, really back then it was things like I'm not sure if you know XXX Tentacion was one of my
Yeah.
favorites at back. There was really a lot. Michael Jackson was obviously a favorite. Um, there was Patty. There was I'm trying to think. There's so many. There's so many. I'm trying to think. There's so many. I would say Michael Jackson was obviously the favorite. I listened to every single Michael Jackson song
Yeah.
over and over again on repeat. So
So yeah, Michael Jackson, obviously absolute classic. So many bangers. Yeah, obviously a good dancer as well. Do you like dancing?
yeah, I like dancing. I can't say I'm a Michael Jackson type of dancer, but I love dancing. I love to get in the vibe. I mean, yeah, I love the energy of dancing.
So yeah, making your first song. Obviously, you are quite young. You still are young. What was it like making your first song, writing the lyrics, going for production? Was it a long process, and did you enjoy that process?
My very first song, honestly, was very short. I think it took me almost a while to really realize that I needed to take my time and needed to really dial it in and focus on exactly what I wanted to say. But I would say it was obviously fun. I really did like getting into the studio for the first time and making my first song. And I think my very first song was the reason why I really pushed for trying to become this, just because I really loved the feeling of like hearing myself and hearing something that I actually enjoyed. So it was I mean, it wasn't a long process, but I would say that in the short time that I was doing it and the end result, I was happy and I wanted to do more. I wanted to be better.
Yeah. So that's really interesting, actually. I mean, I've never really thought about writing a song, but if I did, I feel like you have to take your time, and it's very important that you get everything right in your head as to why you want to pick that. So, following on from that, why did you pick the style of hip hop and rap? for your music? Is it because of inspiration of like Michael Jackson, XXX, and all of that?
Yeah, I would say it definitely is partly because of those inspirations. Seeing people like Michael Jackson and XXX. I think both of those are actually perfect examples of like unique characters in music and like people who really did their own thing and really was they only cared about the music and the music itself. So I think seeing people like that definitely inspired me. That showed me, I think like a different realm of music. I definitely think like in the realm we're in now, there's some people who don't actually care about the music that they're making. So, which is a little unfortunate. And I think those two people really did inspire me to then become the person that I am and to work really hard on trying to become the best version of my music. And I would say for becoming hip hop or just my styles specifically, I think, yeah, it was because of people like that. I like the fact that they could use melodies. Obviously, people like Drake and stuff like that, where I really appreciate the sounds that they're making and then the lyrics to go along with it. So yeah, I think that's what made me go into trying to do the lyrics and trying to do nice melodies and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's very interesting as well. It's like taking inspiration from people, picking a genre is very important. So, of course, what are like you say, making music and enjoying the music that you make is a very important aspect of being a musician. What are other aspects that you think are really important when being a musician?
I think being true to yourself is really important. I think not trying to uh purvey something that's not actually you, I think makes it hard to actually do music because you can't continue to do something that you're not actually already. So I think that's one thing that's really important. I would say also just not feeling bad if you're making a lot of, if you're not making the best music, if you feel like you're not making the best sound. I would say it's mostly about having fun with it and appreciating what you're making. And then that way, once you're appreciating, you can start to like look at what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right, and that'll put you in the right direction. So I feel like, yeah, I think those two things are really important.
Yeah, so making music in America, would you say, obviously, you probably don't have experience there, but would you say making music in America gives you a lot of opportunities to connect with people, have them feature in on your songs, and what's it like having people feature in on your songs?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I would say, yeah, being in America, I have that opportunity, and even just being an artist in general, you have so much opportunity to connect with people around the world just because it's music. It's not something that's exclusive to being American or being, whatever you are, being Nigerian, being anything. You can appreciate any kind of music from any kind of culture. So, yeah, I think, yeah.
So, you released an album last year. Um, Tell us about your favorite song from that album and why, and what inspired you to make that album and create those songs.
That's a good question. I would say, oh, I think I'm gonna have to look at the album list real quick. I would say, um, oh, let me pull it up really quickly. I think that it's either between Hours or Lewis Hamilton. Those are probably my two biggest favorites. And you asked why, right?
Yeah.
I think Hours was one of my favorites just because being having those two features, I feel like I was able to connect with two different people from two different realms. And I feel like we all did our own thing on that song. And yeah, I think that was a great song of just connecting our styles and just showing what we can do. And then Lewis Hamilton, I think that one was one of my favorites just because I like Lewis Hamilton. I felt like I made the words connect and I think made things made sense. And I just I liked what I was talking about. I liked what I was, yeah, it felt cool. I like the melodies and stuff.
Mm. So I believe Ours is your most popular song. Um, what was it like having a song that nearly reached 500,000 streams? It's a big number, and were you like really happy? And how long did it take for that number to like expand?
I was pretty excited. It was my first one that was to go that far, so it was pretty amazing. I felt good to finally. I felt like I was doing music for a while, and obviously people appreciated what I was doing, but it felt like it was almost like undeniable now. People could look at you look at my Spotify, and you can see that there was really something to show. It's not just I say that I do music or I say I make songs that I'm an artist. So it felt really good. It felt amazing.
Nice. 500,000 streams. That is like a lot of people listening to your
Yeah.
music. I bet it felt really cool. I mean, yeah, it must be like amazing to have that. And um, so yeah, what age did you start making music, and how long has it been since you made your first song to making your most recent song?
Let's see. I started making music, I think I would say I started around 2.5 years ago. And then 2 years ago, I think I started taking it seriously and I started getting involved with like a label and stuff. And then, yeah, and then about 1 year down the line, it really took off. So that was kind of the progression. And then now I'm, just trying to do my thing, do my best, and hopefully get some good music out.
Yeah, so I mean, I totally agree. It's 2.5 years is a long time, lots of work to put in as well to get where you are now. And obviously, joining a label, what was that process like? Did people get in contact with you, or did you have to contact them?
It was pretty out of the blue, and also pretty just coincidental because the way that I connected with my album was actually because I'm obviously Nigerian, and so my father had a connection to somebody who was also Nigerian and owned a record label called Benin City, and so actually when they connected, the guy who was owning the label also they lived actually across the street from each other, my father and the guy who owned the label. So it was a very random connection, but very coincidental, and we just it really took off from there. We now that's my family now, and so we yeah it was really random. I wouldn't say it wasn't like they connected to, or I contacted them or they contacted me. It was really just like well, I guess my father did contact them, but then they came back to me, and then we just really yeah we kept on connecting until something actually came of it.
Nice. So that's obviously good, really having like that connection with the people who own your label and they like
Yeah.
help you produce songs. And obviously, I presume you go to a studio recording the songs. What's that like going to the studio? What's that feeling like of knowing, wow, I'm gonna finally record the song that I've been wanting to for so long?
Yeah. I would say when I first started, it was definitely pretty, it was nerve-wracking. It was pretty anxious. I always wanted to make sure I had everything done because I hated to
Mm.
go in there and then feel like I was in there for an hour not doing what I was supposed to be doing. So that was at the start, it was definitely pretty nerve-wracking. But at this point, I think I just hop in there and I just do my thing. I'm pretty confident in what I do. And so when I'm there, I think I know what I'm there for. And also I do make music at home too. So a lot of maybe even the songs on the album, around half of the songs were actually recorded at home. So I just kind of just put my seat up, put the mic next to me and just start recording. So sometimes it's really nothing. It's really easy.
Really easy. Well, I mean, yeah, that probably is. I mean, I've never experienced making music, and obviously, I think that's wonderful as well that you can record it at home. You have a nice setup at home, I presume. So, obviously, writing songs. What's that like? Coming up with the lyrics in your head. What's the meaning behind some of your songs?
Mm, that's it's pretty tough. It can be extremely tough, especially because it's when you're writing a song. At least for me, I try to make sure that I'm writing to a melody, and so I don't like to just write words down and then try and write a melody to that. So it's pretty difficult just trying to find the right words to fit into the right melody. Really, that's the most difficult part for me is trying to find those two things. And there's obviously a contrast between those two things where you have to find that right sound. You don't want to sound like really bad as well. Even if you have the best lyrics in the world, obviously you don't want to sound bad. And then vice versa, you don't want to sound amazing but then have no lyrics at all. So it's difficult, definitely hard, especially finding something even meaningful to say. That's difficult.
So, obviously, being difficult, making lyrics. Is there like any influence behind those lyrics from like particular artists? Is there a reason why you pick like certain lyrics to fit with that melody, or is it just purely because the beat goes with those lyrics that you've made?
Yeah. I would say all of my music, it's just it can be random, but it's a mix of all those things. So artists that I've listened to before, things that are going on in my life, just yeah, things are going on in the world, even just anything that's really happening anywhere. I think I just try to involve it in my music. And yeah, specifically, I definitely do reference like other artists. I like to reference Michael Jackson, make like beat it bars, comparing different things, just talking about just different entendres and stuff like that.
Yeah, very interesting. Have you ever made like a music video to go with one of your songs? And if you have, what is that like?
Yeah, I've made quite a bit of music videos, and I would say it's it's fun. I think it's probably one of the most fun parts about the experience, just because you've made this song and you like this song so much, and then now you have a whole plan on how you're going to make a video and a visual for it. So even it's like I get to finish it out. It's almost like the finishing piece to making my puzzle whenever I'm making a song is I get to then put in that video and put in the right things that I like. So it's it's fun, but it's also difficult because obviously finding the right shots and then finding the right shots, but also the right times to put those shots. So yeah, it can be difficult, but it's fun.
So, how do you try and relate your music video to the song that you've made? Do you just like try and find a meaning for the video from the song, or is it just purely like images that you think are nice to go with it? Like, what's it like finding lyrics and finding images to relate with your lyrics?
I try to find the meaning of the song and I try to relate it the most I can. But then also sometimes the meaning of the song isn't actually what you want to show as
Mm.
the visual. So sometimes, I try to figure out the mix between those two. So I like to show a song where I'm talking about, I don't know, my a problem with a relationship, and then I'll show that relationship. I'll give a visual of me and I don't know that girl, and we'll show that relationship and those troubles, and then that'll go into that visual. But then also sometimes it's something a little more sad, and then you want to show just kind of nice visuals to go along with that sad. So yeah.
Yeah. So, recently you released a new song. What could that lead to? Could it lead to another album? Could you see another album happening in the future? More songs, more features coming in on those songs? What are your plans for, let's say, the next year ahead?
For sure. I would say that song specifically it is the start to that next album, and it will probably be included in the next album, and there is 100% more plans for music. I think uh, hopefully most people know that I've been working in that last year. The time that I'm not hosting, it's also still me working. So there's a lot of music, a lot of music that's in the vault, and that's getting ready to be put out. And so we'll see when that time comes, but there definitely will be an album in the next year, if not plenty and plenty of singles. So there's a lot of music coming.
Cool. Lots of music coming, lots of things to be excited. Everyone, go onto Spotify, go on search Osa Zele and try and find him and his music and listen to it. I have listened to it and it's really good. Um, finally,
Thank
not
you.
finally, of course, but a few questions about you to learn about you. If you could have two people feature on one of your songs, alive or passed away, who would they be and why?
That's a good question. I would have to go obviously Michael Jackson, but this second one will be a little more tough. I would say Michael Jackson and ooh, I think I think I'm gonna go with the Notorious B.I.G. Biggie as the second one. And if I could get them both on the same song, that would be the best. That would be amazing.
Why would you choose those two? Obviously, Michael Jackson, you've talked about in the past, but why the Notorious B.I.G.? Why him? Is there a particular reason?
I really appreciate his style. I feel like no matter what I would throw at him, I feel like he would come with something crazy. I feel like even if we threw him some kind of singing thing that would go with Michael Jackson, I feel like
Mm.
the Notorious B.I.G. would have something even crazier to come onto it. And yeah, I really do appreciate what the Notorious B.I.G. has done in his time in the time that he had. So
So, obviously Michael Jackson and the Notorious B.I.G. What are your favorite two songs from them? So, one from Michael Jackson, one from the Notorious B.I.G. and why, of course.
mm, mm, ooh. I think for Michael Jackson, I'm gonna have to do Beat It
Yeah.
and ooh, there's so many. There's so many. So many. I'm just gonna go with Thriller, even though that's too easy for me to say, but I'm gonna say Thriller and then Notorious B.I.G. Mm, that's a good question.
I put you on the spot here a bit, man. My bad.
You did. Hold on, let me just find, and I will tell you because I don't actually know the name of the song. Here we go. Here we go. So I'm gonna go with Hypnotize,
Right.
and then I'm
Okay.
gonna go with Juicy. Juicy's a
Right.
that's obviously a classic, but Hypnotize is that's one of those under. I mean, everybody knows Hypnotize, but it's one of those
Mm.
underdogs.
Yeah, definitely. So with your music, going back to your music, obviously 2024, big year ahead. Is your album going to be coming out in 2024 or will it be in 2025? Which one?
I pray it is in 24. I pray. It should be. I can almost guarantee it'll be in 2024. There's almost no way it doesn't, and if it isn't, I can guarantee that it'll be songs to fill in that time.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but
And
I pray that it will be. That's the goal.
that's the goal, definitely. And in your next album, can you give us any like indication of if there's going to be any features? Give us maybe a couple of the song titles. Do all that you can, maybe, if you've thought of them.
um, can I? I'm not sure. um, I could probably say this. Eli Frost and a couple of the New York guys will be on the in the feature list, and
Nice.
some even more. Some more will be coming. I just I can't say too much.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, back to your personal life, back to your background. Denver, Colorado. Colorado, a big city, and America is obviously a big country. What was it like being brought up in America? And just tell us a little bit about your school life and tell us a little bit about your college life as well. Middle school, whatever it's called in America. I can't quite remember actually.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I would say growing up in America, it was definitely different. I say we have there's a lot of influence, and then also
Mm,
there's a lot of uh, there's a lot of emphasis on being, I guess, popular, being, being famous or whatever it may be, just
mm,
having, being recognizable. So I would say it was interesting. I think it helped me learn a lot about just different cultures. I feel like being able to grow up in America, there was always some kind of diversity going on around me. And when there wasn't diversity around me, I feel like I could especially notice it too. So I think it helped me with, yeah, just picking out the certain moments in my life, and then also I would say that it helped me with like discovering a lot of the BS, the BS that's going on. I think there is a lot of BS that goes on in America and anywhere you go, but just by living and continuing to live, you start to figure out what BS is what. And yeah,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I agree with you. Growing up in the UK, there's a lot of diversity around me, lots of different cultures coming in one, and I think it's really important that we all embrace and bring things together. And I think I have another question for you. Did you play any sports when you were growing up? And if you did, what's your favorite sport and why? And what's your favorite team?
I did. I played basketball and I played football. And I mean, the Broncos and the Nuggets have to be my favorite just because I'm from Denver. And also my father actually did play for the Broncos too. So that's one of my, that's got to be my favorite. Besides that though, that was really it. I think I never actually, if I'm being honest, I never really got into either of those really heavily. I did appreciate both of the sports, but I never. I did play for a team for a little bit, and then that was really the most of it. I never played it past probably high school. So
Right. Okay, so are you still in school now? Did you like drop out to focus on your fully on your music? Are you gonna go get a degree maybe from a different university? Like what's your plan for your academic future?
Currently right now, I don't have a plan to do anything more, but I have graduated high school and I am done with that. So, um, there may be future for college, university, something like that. But at this point, I think I'm really focused on what I'm doing right now, and I feel like I'm able to do everything I want to do with the education I have. So
Right.
until that point comes where I feel like I'm being held back, then I'm probably just gonna, yeah, just keep on working on the music.
Music is your main focus. I do like that. And so finally, with your music, I know you enjoy it and it's really good. So I just wanted to say, well done. Keep going, and I
Thank
think
you.
that you definitely have a future. I've listened to a few of your songs; they're actually like amazing. Your lyrics are really good, and obviously, you said Lewis Hamilton was one of your favorites. Obviously, I like Lewis Hamilton as well. He's a good driver. He's a good person. He promotes equality and diversity, and yeah, I just think that he's a really good person to relate to and promote your lyrics around.
Thank you.
So I think this has definitely been an amazing podcast. I'd like to thank you for joining me. I'd like to thank everyone for watching, and I think it's really been amazing to learn about Oscar and um, show what it's like creating music and being a part of that community. So thank you again. If you'd like to say a few
Thank
words to
you for
sign off, that'd
inviting
be
me.
amazing.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it so much. Thank you guys for watching, especially for anybody who goes to check out my music. I appreciate it so much. Thank you to my fans. Thank you so much for, yeah, just for inviting me. Thank you for what you're doing. I think you're spreading a great, a great amount of things for the culture. I think everybody gets to learn by doing things like this. So
Thank you. It's been amazing being with you, and thanks for everyone watching. Hope you have a good rest of your evening, and to you have a good rest of your day. Also, thank you. Bye bye.